Dun dun dun. But I've heard you can pet them at least once. On the left-hand side, you're going to see, so there are going to be two different animals over here. So the cinnamon-colored antelopes, all the way out there with the really big horns. Those are going to be sable antelopes. So sable antelopes are the emblem of the reserve. They're the only antelope that when put in fight or flight will choose to fight. That's why they have those backwards angled horns. Now those cows with the really big horns, those are going to be Ankole cattle, also known as Watusi cattle, after the tribe that domesticated them. They're one of the very few domesticated animals here on the reserve. Now those horns, once they're fully grown, because those ones are kind of young, once they're fully grown, they're going to be 6 to 8 feet wide. They might look heavy, but they're actually hollow inside. They have a honeycomb structure that runs through them that has blood vessels in it, which aids in cooling them down. It's called thermoregulation. There's an older one on the right-hand side where you can see how big his horns are. They're still not full size, though. Now, those cows are a status symbol in Africa. And that's because they're not used for their dairy or their meat. They just sit around and eat your food. It's what I want to be when I grow up.
Where you had your lunch up there? It's cool.
Yeah. So coming up on the left-hand side, this really big antelope, largest antelopes in the entire world. They're going to stand 6 feet tall just at the shoulders. They're going to be roughly about 2,200 pounds. But they're also one of the most athletic of the antelopes. They have a vertical jump of 5 feet in the air. Sai giraffe. This is going to be a female. So she's going to stand 16 to 20 feet tall. Now they do have one of the highest blood pressures of any other animal.
There's also a baby right there.
Speaking of blood pressure, there is a baby giraffe on the right side.
Baby.
Speaking of blood pressure, their hearts are huge. Their hearts are going to be up to 2 feet long and can weigh up to 20 pounds.
There's another baby.
Crossing the road.
So giraffes, a group of giraffes is called a tower.
It's peeing.
Giraffes are master power nappers. They're going to sleep for about 30 minutes a day. But never the full 30 all at once, just in short little increments, normally about a minute long. The rest of the time they're going to spend eating and drinking minimal amounts of water. So they're kind of like overgrown teenagers. Right-hand side, you're going to an elephant is going to weigh a whopping 13,000 pounds. And the female, there's a pretty big size difference between the males and the females. So the female,
That's huge.
yep, so that's going to be the 13,000 pound male. He's a big boy.
Oh,
Right. It's okay. It's a circle. Guys, don't tell people I can sing. I'm trying to keep it on the DL. Okay, guys. So, coming up on the left-hand side, there's going to be some greater flamingos.
where? I don't know, but
So, they're called greater flamingos, guys. I promise I'm not playing favorites. That's because they're going to be the biggest of the flamingo species. They're also the most pale in color. They're actually going to be born gray. And by the time they're about 2, they'll get that full pink coloration. They get that pink coloration from the beta-carotene in their diets, which for them it's going to come from brine shrimp and other crustaceans. A group of flamingos is called the flamboyants. which sounds just as sassy as they are. Which the most recent fact that I learned about the flamingos that absolutely blew my mind was the average lifespan of a flamingo in captivity. Don't panic either. So those are going to be white rhinos. White rhinos are going to be one of the largest species. So they gather. She's going to be peeking out there. She's facing away. She's like, paparazzi, no. Now a group of lions is called a pride. A pride normally could say, doing that exactly. One could say just lying around. And then at night, the females, they're going to go out and hunt. And the males are going to be the best stay-at-home dads. And they're going to guard the cubs and the territory. Warthog from the Disney, the Lion King, also known as Animal on the Reserve. The Nigerian dwarf goats. Even though they're small, I promise you they're fully grown. These goats are ruminants, which means they have multiple chambered stomachs, and that aids in their digestive tract. They're extremely social and they love to be in herds with one another, but I will warn you, they have incredible balance and agility, which oftentimes makes them troublemakers. I can attest to more. Or looking up what animals in your area need help, it really does make a difference. You can also donate to the Disney Conservation Go Well. So, Kwaharini, guys. Have a great rest of your day. You're so welcome.
Double check your rows. Make sure you got your cell phones, your wallets, your water bottles, your children, etc.
But they're actually the closest living relative to the giraffe. We can tell this by looking at their skull shapes. Both the giraffe and the okapi have a horn-like structure on top of their heads called ossicones. Now on the left-hand side, you're going to see two different species of antelopes. So the brown-colored one that looks similar to a deer, that's going to be a greater kudu. So greater kudus are one of the tallest antelopes in Africa. We can tell that that's a female because she does not have horns. Now we can't say the same thing for the rust-colored one that we saw there. That's going to be the bongo. So the bongo is also known as the ghost of the forest because of how shy and reclusive they are. They do have those beautiful backwards angled horns, and that's to help them go silently through vegetation. Both the males and the females for the bongos are going to have horns. And their horns are super heavy. They're actually built similar to a helmet on top of their heads. And they have to be super heavy because they're going to use them to dig out roots from trees, which is a huge part of their diets. Now on the right hand side, you're going to see that beautiful bird all the way up there in that nest. So that's going to be the saddle-billed stork. The saddle-billed stork has a wingspan of about 9 feet, which is roughly as wide as the row that you guys are sitting in now. We can tell the males from the females because the males will have brown eyes, the females are going to have yellow eyes. They're one of the only storks that cannot vocalize. Instead, they're going to rattle their bills together. Now, I'm sure his wife is out here somewhere. Those two are a mated pair. They mate for life. Ooh la la. On the left-hand side, if you look all the way up along that wall right there, you're going to see what looks like a boulder with ears. It's going to be a black rhino. So black rhinos are one of the smallest species of rhino. They are solitary animals, which means they like to be alone. So no FOMO for him. He prefers it that way. In the last decade, less than 5,000 black rhinos were left in the entire world. But due to conservation efforts, their numbers have been slowly increasing, but that doesn't mean they're out of the woods yet. Because sadly, the only threat to a rhino's population is humans. They don't have any sort of natural predators in the wild. Exactly. We are literally the only thing hunting them. So our next stop today is going to be the Safi River. Animals in the Safi River are semi-aquatic, so they love to be in water, but they're not ready to give up their life on land. So keep your eyes peeled along that water line and in those shady spots. Look for bubbles, ripples, and dark spots. So right off the bat on the right-hand side, I do see those lighter colored birds. Those are going to be pink-backed pelicans. Pink-backed pelicans get their name for the pink back that they get during mating season. They're one of the largest flighted birds, and they're going to be the only pelican species to nest in trees. They are opportunistic omnivores, which means they're going to eat literally anything they can get their hands on. So one of the biggest threats to their populations is pollution along our beaches and in our waterways. Now keep your eyes peeled on the left-hand side. There might be some hippos underneath the water, maybe, just maybe. They're going to look like big blobs. So hippos are going to spend majority of their time in and under the water. They're even going to sleep under the water, and they will instinctively come up for air every so often, even though they are still asleep. Hi, buddy. Even though they are still asleep. So sort of how we continue to subconsciously breathe while we're asleep, it just happens naturally. Hippos might not look fast, but on land, they're going to run up to 35 miles per hour. I don't know about you guys, but I'm not running 35 miles per hour. I'm not running, period. So, I don't know. A group of hippos is called a bloat, which I think is very fitting because each one weighs about as much as a car. And since they do weigh so much when they get into the water, they actually sink right down to the riverbed. So they're not actually swimming when they're under the water. On the left-hand side, Nile crocodiles and a very brave man.
And a very brave man.
So they're smiling. They love you guys. So Nile crocodiles, they actually can't sweat. So they open their mouths to help regulate their body temperatures. That's kind of their own version of panting like a dog does. So the Nile crocodile is going to get roughly about 16 feet in length, which for reference, that's going to be about the same height that a giraffe is tall. That's going to make them one of the longest animals in the entire world. They're going to weigh 300 to 500 pounds. And they can eat over half their body weight in one sitting, which so can I. So, I don't know. One of the biggest threats to the animals in the Saque River is water pollution, and a way that we can help is picking chemicals and pesticides that are safe for animals at home. On the right-hand side, this is going to be the baobab tree. The baobab tree is also known as the tree of life or the upside-down tree. Any guesses why? Just kidding, because it looks like it's stuck upside down. It looks like somebody put it in wrong. They're going to be leafless 9 out of the 12 months of the year, and during the dry season, since they have to go such long durations without rain, they store water in their trunks to help them survive. And a lot of the horned animals will come up and stick their horns in the trunk of the tree to get that water to come out, which is why they're also known as the tree of life. They're kind of nature's vending machines. So we're now going down towards the most iconic part of the reserve. This is going to be the African savanna. Animals in the savanna, they don't rely so much on camouflage. They rely a lot more on being fast, staying agile, and having safety in big groups. So safety in numbers. If you guys want to look above your heads at that spotting gun, those are some of the animals that we might spot out here. Now, it does appear that we found ourselves in a bit of a giraffe jam. Thank you for the pity laughs. I get excited when I get to use that one. So a lot of the animals here on the reserve, they are free roaming, which means they can walk wherever they want. And majority of the time, that's the road. So whenever that animal is back on the move, so will we.
You gonna come up and sit with us?
You don't need to be filming this. This bit's